All right, let's get straight to the heart. This is the most crucial thing in my nomenclature system. That is the shorthand for family of origin. That is where these programming take place. It's called family of origin in part because you could have one weak parent, one strong, divorced, blended families. One parent passed away, remarriage, grandparents, uh, influential people. Maybe you live with your grandmother. Um, Family of origin is really that set of influences and designs that take place that really help you interpret the world, understand you, figure it out, uh, challenge you. If you come from a difficult family, maybe be very hard on you, inappropriate, not loving, they've got their own pain there, and whatever it is, uh, family of origin is where this starts. Now, it's really important to understand two things. This programming takes place by direct means. What is that? You say to a child, you say to your spouse, you speak programming. You should do this, don't do that. How many times have I told you? You're talking very, very directly and communicating what you want and what you don't want. The bad news is that's the small part of the program. The larger part of the program is just by osmosis. The fact of the matter is, if it is your software, then it's their software too. It'll have its own karma. It will have its own, time adjusted, uh, culture adjusted, um, you know, environmental adjustments. They're learning your software in social media. Maybe you didn't have social media. I grew up on a party line. I was almost 12 before our family got our own direct line to us. So, but what you communicate when you're on the phone falls into the family of origin. So here's the big piece: who you are. Look at that. Who you are begins the most foundational piece of this. I got a number of slides. I'll talk a little bit, but I'm also going to just take a few gaps in silence because I really, really want you to ponder this and ponder how important this is. Your child will follow your example, not your advice. You'll see some slides here, the old say, do as I say versus don't do as I do. So you're going to tell them not to smoke and you're a smoker. You're going to tell them certain things and you don't hold that. If you're on this call, you're beginning or you're in your inevitable journey, your potentiality starting to wake up. Your child's going to follow how you choose to live your life. If you believe in abundance, then they will too. If you believe in scarcity and preach abundance to them, the arrogance of youth, they'll be abundant in their youth, but by the time they grow up, the software kicks in and they're scarce. Your child will follow your example as a life pattern, as a life software, not your advice. Very, very important. Hypocrite. People who, say do this but don't do that. So if you're telling your child how to eat, how to exercise, how to watch TV, and you're not, you have a challenge. You really have to think. Now, again, adults can do things that kids can't. I'm not talking about that. So, for example, one of my famous stories is my wife and I were very conscious about swearing. We swear a lot. But what you really understand about swearing, it's contextual. Even I don't swear a lot on these calls. You might occasionally hear an F-bomb, but it's pretty rare on a call if you're closer to me or we're in different settings. So to tell my kids not to swear when I swear, what I have to tell my kids is swearing's contextual, and now I have to teach them context. So actually my children had swear time with dad, and they not only learned when to swear, they learned how to swear. So they put swear words together correctly. From the time they were talking, when they were 5, they could swear contextually. And it was a real treat for them, and it was a lot of fun, and they knew they were special. You have to really consider what it means to walk the walk. Now, I told you in the email, if you don't have kids, you still want to ponder this information, because is leadership any different? Do you want to walk the walk or talk the talk? Do you want to be authentic and not a hypocrite? Do you want to put out good software, good examples in your family? Maybe your kids are grown and gone. Maybe you don't have kids. At work, maybe your children are your coworkers. Maybe they're your employees. Leadership is no different. The attitude that you have as a parent is what your kids will learn from more than what you tell them. They don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what and who you are. To ponder that. The attitude, more than the words, of who you are, how you show up. So you can't tell them what to fear and not, or what to do and or don't do. They will follow your software. Very, very important. What you do speaks so loudly. I cannot hear what you say, Ralph Waldo Emerson. A great, great, great observation, something to ponder. What you do is greater than your words. Again, these tidbits of wisdom are everywhere. You are what you do, not what you say you will do. Carl Jung. On and on and on. As I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do. Andrew Carnegie. On and on and on. Here's the most important thing to notice. Over and over and over, you're being watched. You're being watched. They're absorbing your happy or sad response to news, your direct or indirect response to what's going on in your life. They are watching you. Your kids are watching you. Your family is watching you. Your employees, your coworkers, your friends, everyone is watching. Not to judge, not to raise or tear out. That's just the nature of the human experience. We observe people around us. We are watching. In every moment, you are making a decision. Am I going to continue to be this, to do this, to think this? Is that my decision, or am I going to be different? That's what these calls, weekly calls, that's what the membership site, that's what Work With Us is about. Am I going to be different, and what is that different? What is it? I want to know. Massive point number 1 for tonight, parenting. To kick off parenting. You know, I am the example, and what will I now do tomorrow different as a result of really thinking? Again, when you think about it, you could say, oh, hey, thanks, Captain Obvious. It never occurred to me that my kids model me. You really have to dig into this one. In order to be a great parent, in order to raise a great child, you have choices to make.